And Senator Jim Risch now. He's chairman of the all-powerful Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Sir, before we get into this, the Saudi stuff specifically, I want to get your response to what I would argue is sort of the most significant news of the morning, which is that the president is going to meet with the transitional leader of Syria, not something that was on anybody's bingo card.
Well, it hasn't been followed closely by the media, but it has been followed by us up here. Look, the Middle East has changed. It's continuing to change. We have a couple of opportunities right now, both in Syria and Lebanon. They are not sure things, but we really need to engage there. We need to see that Iran and Russia don't come and fill in what is clearly a vacuum that's occurring there. I've personally talked to both the President and the Secretary of State and urged them to ease the sanctions on Syria so that they can start to rebuild their country. Look, there's other issues there. It needs to be watched very closely. It needs to be monitored very closely. Right now, they have a tremendous opportunity that President Trump's giving them, and I hope we are able to take advantage of that. But also, they're going to have to meet the goals that we've given them.
The president seems to be sort of, I don't want to say newly committed, but maybe recently recommitted to diplomacy as a sort of ultimate way of moving his agenda forward. You're talking to the Russians all the time. He says he's going to talk to the North Koreans. He's going to talk to the Iranians. The negotiations are ongoing now. He's going to meet with the replacement for Syria's brutal dictator, Bashar al-Assad. Do you think as a general approach, this is genius or nuts?
Well, look, everybody knows that soft power is way preferred to hard power. And the President of the United States knows this. He's always known that. Knowing him as I do, I know he hates using kinetic power or hard power. He would much rather use soft power, the diplomatic approach. As you've seen, we've had just this absolute flurry of activity since he started his second term. This isn't by accident. His team has been planning this for 4 years. I've always said that this 4 years of President Trump is going to be a substantially better 4 years than had he been elected consecutively to a second term. These guys have been planning this for a long time. You know, we see a half a dozen events a day sometimes that presidents couldn't do in a month. And this is the result of long, careful planning.
You know, all this talk about investment, you know, the president said during his remarks today, he's hoping the number from the Saudis coming to the United States gets up to $1 trillion. The president's critics, though, as I'm sure you know, some of your colleagues in the Senate are going hard against this visit to Saudi. Take a listen to Senator Chris Murphy.
This is President Trump's corruption tour of the Middle East. He is going to the Gulf in order to collect tribute. What's happening here is an extraordinary level of corruption. We shouldn't pretend this is business as usual. Trump is not asking for any benefit to the American people. He's not asking for any movement towards peace in the region. He's asking for cash.
What do you say to that, sir?
Well, Chris Murphy's running for president. He will criticize Trump every opportunity he gets. He's playing to his base. Look, this is exactly what presidents do when they want to improve relationships. The Middle East is, like I said, changing every day. And the more that President Trump can convince those people that they should have an investment in the United States, the closer we get tied and the less likely you are to have problems with that. It's easy to criticize. This president is doing a fabulous job. A good example of this is, look, he put out this executive order on reducing the cost of pharmaceuticals and did something the Democrats have been trying to do for decades. In fact, using some of the ideas that they had. You haven't heard a peep from the Democrats, or for that matter, out of your competing cable networks, of giving the president credit for this. This was a huge thing that happened, and it got almost no media at all.
Well, sir, to be fair, you know, the president issued this major executive order, but that doesn't mean that pharmaceutical costs at pharmacies will automatically shoot down tomorrow.
Well, what his objective is one of the basic things he wanted to do correctly is to say that Americans aren't going to pay more for drugs than other countries are. It's common knowledge in this country that Canadians and Europeans, for the exact same pharmaceutical,
yes, sir, but what is the, I guess if you could explain to it, what is the enforcement mechanism? What prerogative does the president have to actually make that come true for Americans?
Well, there's all kinds of enforcement mechanisms, not the least of which the order says what it says, and that is that they can't sell drugs at a higher rate. If they do, they're going to be facing a class action by the consumers, and secondly, they're going to be facing an action by the Justice Department that says you can't do this. There's an executive order that says you can't. Good stuff on his part. Let's give credit where credit's due here.
It is, sir, as you say, always easier to criticize. Thank you for taking time out with us today, sir. We hope to talk to you again very soon.
Thank you, Jillian. Glad to be here with you.